Hi, my name is Katie Crumick. I'm an instructor for design thinking and social innovation. And this is week 3 of our course. I wanted to just check in and send a message to make some updates and share some things about the class. One is just to review assignments. So everyone has been engaging with the online discussion, which is great. And just a reminder that in order to get full credit, you should make your own original post and then make a direct response to a classmate. And those are due by the end of the week, Sunday at midnight. And then another thing that you should be kind of have in progress at this point is your peer mentor group. So that is a group of kind of randomly assigned colleagues in the class in groups of 4 or 5. And you are going to be asked to meet with them 5 times over the quarter, 3 times of which are required in specific weeks and have specific discussion questions. You can find the discussion questions in Canvas and also in the peer mentor group spreadsheet. So this week is the first week that we're asking you to meet with your group. And the way that you get credit for that is by completing a very simple quiz that demonstrates that you participated. So that's another assignment for this week. And then the last assignment is to be making progress with your design work. So the content of the lecture of this week is all about what it means to be a social entrepreneur or entrepreneur and how you might use human-centered design practices or design thinking practices to develop innovative solutions, whether you're launching a new venture or you're working from within inside an organization to come up with a new program or new intervention. And as I mentioned before, a big part of this class is creating time and space for you to explore a real issue that the community is facing, something that you would like to make a change around or influence to improve. And we're going to ask you to do that by using some of these design tools to explore that idea. The design tools are all laid out in everyone's mural boards. You should be able to access the link to that, to your mural board through Canvas. And I'm just going to share my screen really quickly. So the way this mural board is laid out, it starts with week 2 up here. So ideally, you would have completed all of these activities for week 2. And the last activity is to think about different stakeholder groups that are directly influenced or impacted by the problem that you're wanting to explore. And that is going to lead directly into week 3. So in week 3, we are asking you to conduct at least one interview with a stakeholder. And as I talk about in the lecture, conducting design research, interviewing participants is very sensitive, and we want to be very thoughtful, careful, and follow ethical practices when we're engaging with stakeholders, particularly stakeholders from vulnerable populations. So we are asking for this beginning of this course that you only reach out to someone who you have a personal relationship with or someone who is in a public-facing role. So works at an organization, works at Portland State, who can speak to the problem that you're working on solving, but is also accustomed to engaging with community members. So we want you to get practice engaging people out in the real world. And we want you to do that in a way that's kind of, quote, safe to fail, by, again, either talking to someone who you have a relationship with already or someone who's in a public-facing role. So there's a little reminder here about that piece. the design little book of design research ethics, which is put out by the design firm IDEO, is one of your assignments for this week. And you can double click here and it will open as well. So this is a good resource for helping to kind of make sure that you're level setting in terms of how to approach these interviews. I also made an additional, so this tool here is a lot about kind of reinforcing what I lectured on this week. And I also created a document that you can double click to give you some templates for reaching out, introducing and giving context about the interview, and some sample questions that you can use to get started. So you can double click on that guide as well. The next framework is thinking about what questions you want to ask. What do you need to learn more about? What do you need to explore about the problem that you're working on solving? The next framework is about taking notes from the interview. You want to obviously ask permission to take notes and then be sure that you capture what you're learning from the person you're interviewing. And then the last step this week is to take what you heard and synthesize into a point of view statement. So that is an opportunity for us to narrow down on a particular need that is facing the community that is closest to the problem you're working on solving. And there's a framework here. You can create one or two, but if you go through the framework on this left-hand side, it will help you to start to define the problem in a more specific way, but in a way that is also grounded in the community that is, again, closest to the problem. And we really recommend that you stay on track. This course, again, all the weekly work, design work that you're doing builds on itself. And so it's not a course that you can kind of wrap up in one weekend in November or December. So please stay on track. And in order to be caught up by the end of this week, week 3, you should have at least one stakeholder interview conducted. And then at the beginning of week 4, we will jump in and use what you learned to continue your design work. So I wanted to share those frameworks and just give that overview. And the other parts of the engagement for this week are just reading articles and watching the lecture, watching some videos. I am available for office hours on Fridays from 9:30 to 10:30. I'm also happy to find a time if that particular window doesn't work for you. So feel free to reach out over email and schedule a time to connect. I hope you have a great week. I hope you're enjoying the design work and all the materials in the class so far. And I look forward to meeting you all in office hours and reading more about your work in the discussions and on the mural board. Thanks so much.